it's time for the exciting part 2 of our Tic Tac Toe video series. So hopefully we can get through everything in this next part, and we're going to make the Tic Tac Toe Driver, so the thing that's actually going to let us play this game. And if you were bearing with me and you watched the other video, you followed along, you got your own copy of this code, believe me, the hard part's behind us. Figuring out what it meant to win tic-tac-toe, how to check for that, and how to print out the board was the hardest part. It should be smooth sailing from here, so hopefully this video will actually be significantly shorter than our last one. So let's make a new file. Class Tic-Tac-Toe Driver. And this one is only going to have one method in it. It's our old friend public static void main string args. So let's get ourselves all set up. What are some things that we need to do? We need to make a game of tic-tac-toe. Let's do that real quick. Tic-tac-toe game equals new tic-tac-toe. That was easy. Let's see, we're going to want to be able to keep track of the player, so Boolean flag for player turns. We'll call it turn, and we'll say it equals true at first. So true, remember, is 1 and false is 0, so we'll just say true is player 1 and false is player 2. As long as we can keep that straight, we're good. Let's see, what else are we going to need to do? Well, we're going to need to be able to somehow get the move from the player, so maybe we should import a scanner. There we go. So we should probably make a scanner. There we go. So we've got ourselves a scanner. So let's get that input from the scanner. So we're going to get, let's do these separately. You're going to get the row and then you're going to get the column. So the row we'll ask the user for the row. They'll ask them for the column. Let's prompt them. Oops, I'll save it. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, those are warnings. Cool. Looks like it works. So, let's see. What are some problems we could potentially run into here? Well, what if the user enters 5, 5? So those are both integers. That's okay. It's not going to crash. But those are outside the range of what would be considered legal for tic-tac-toe. There is no row 5, there is no column 5. Well, let's just say they got confused and they put in 3, 3, thinking that that was the last space. We should probably stop them from doing that so that they can enter again, potentially. So let's go ahead and check for those. So what I'm going to do is just set this up with a while true loop, our old friend, the infinite loop. We'll put this in here. So we're going to keep iterating until something happens. So let's say if the row is greater than 0 and the row is less than 3, actually, hold on, let's say is greater than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 2. So it's between 0 and 2. And the column is the exact same thing. If all these things are true, then we can stop. Otherwise, we're going to want to print some error message. Let's actually use printf here. So let's say the move %d is not valid. So we put in the placeholder D and D, and we're putting in row and column in place of it. So it'll say, hey, the move that you entered isn't valid. Let's try it. So that's not valid, but that one is. Okay, cool. So it looks like we're good there. What else could go wrong? So what if you had a valid move? It was within that range, but your opponent had already moved there. So let's say you go over here. Oops. Let's clear this out. I don't want anything here. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to clear this out. Just make a new one. Okay, so you got your tic-tac-toe board. Your opponent moves here. But then I say that I want to move here. I probably shouldn't be able to do that. It should probably say, hey, that's not a valid move. Otherwise, I'll just overwrite my opponent's turn. So, not quite breaking yet. We should also check if the space is free, right? Well, lucky for us, we don't have to do anything to check that, because we have this already. We already wrote it. So if game dot is free space row column break. Otherwise, we're going to print out a different message. The space, put our placeholders, is not available. Put our new line at the end. Okay, let's try it. That's not a valid move. What about 2-8? That's not a valid move. 0-0. Alright, cool. So we can't see this one yet because we're not actually adding anything or making any moves. So in order to check this, to test to make sure that it works, let's actually make our move. So after we've gotten the input, so that's this thing, collect the input from the user. Let's add some comments. Prompt the user for the move. This is check the move. So after we've done all of this, we want to actually make the move. We want to mark the space. And for now, let's just put X's in there. So row, column, X. And if you're playing at home, you might realize this is going to throw an error. Yep. So it can't be resolved to a variable. That's because the row and the column were defined inside of this loop, so we can't use them outside the loop. So pretty simple fix. Just do that and get rid of the n in front of them here. And now we can run it. So now let's try it. So that's not a valid move. 0, 0 is a valid move. And that was it. So let's add another while loop. And what might we want to do with this one? While we can still play, right? While there's still moves to make. So what about while game is game, if I can type. So while the game is not over, do all this stuff. So while the game is not over, collect input from the user. If the input is valid, then go ahead and make the move. So let's make a move. Alright, cool. And now it says that space is not available because we already made our move. And I've just realized that we're not doing something really, really important. We're not printing the board. So before we even start looping, let's print the board out. So just game.print board. And then at the end of every move, after we've made our move, let's print the board. Print the game state. Okay, there we go. So now we have a tic-tac-toe board that we can see. Go to 0, 0. Sweet, it made the move. Go to 1, 1. Cool, cool. Let's go to 2, 2. And the game ended. So it realized that the game was over, and it stopped. So really all we need to do now is just put some polish on this thing and make it work a little bit nicer. Make it where you can put the X's and the O's. It's really not much more from here. We've done all the heavy lifting. So, first things first, let's do something really easy, and let's just add a prompt here that says what we're doing. Let's see, what do we want to say? Let's just do something simple like what is your move? Alright. Of course, that one line, there's an error. Okay. So you already see that is a much better user interface. Alright. So let's keep track of the X's and O's, that way we can alternate them. So let's go up here. Let's make a thing called mark. And we're not actually going to use it up here, but we're going to declare it. Okay. And down here, what we want to do is have this be X if turn is true, and O if turn is false. So if turn is true, mark equals X. Else, mark equals O. No errors. And 0, 0. 0, 0. 1, 1. So you see it's still doing X. So what did we do wrong? Well, we never updated the player's turn. Switch, or let's say alternate players. So if turn was true, make it false. If turn was false, make it true. Alright, now we've got O's. And let's go ahead and let X win this game, I think. And then O is going to make this really bad move. And X wins. Cool. So it's working. But if you notice, it's kind of hard to tell whose turn it is. Let's say we got up, we left, we went to go get lunch or something, or maybe someone came and distracted us and we came back. I guess you could count the X's and the O's to figure out whose turn it was. But wouldn't it be nice if the program actually told you? So let's go up here. We just print this once. Above the while loop, we're going to print whose turn it is. And actually, let's do this here. So system.out.print. We're going to use printf again. And we're going to say, oops. Let's use the string placeholder, apostrophe. So X's or O's or whoever's turn. And then we need the new line. We'll put the mark in there. Now the only problem with this is initially mark isn't anything. And by the end of this, it's not going to, well, it will still be what we want it to be, I guess. But initially it isn't anything at all. So what we need to do is grab this, and instead of doing it here, put it up here. Figure out whose turn it is. Alright, X's turn. O's turn. X's turn. O's turn. Cool. So it looks like everything's working. Let's see. What's left? What else should we do? Well, when we won that game a while ago, notice, actually, let's take a look. Let's win this game real quick. It's O's turn. We'll let O have this one. And then X, you just waste your turn right there. Then O, there we go. O won, and then it just sort of ended. It didn't congratulate O, didn't tell us what happened. So what if we add a message that tells us that O won the game? So after we've gotten out of this loop, right? So once this while loop is broken, system.out.println. Actually, we want to let printf. The space character, so we're going to have a little space for a string, has 1. Put the mark in there. And it's going to throw an error because initially mark isn't initialized. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem there. So we're going to have to use that if statement again. This is probably the cleanest way of fixing it. Just throw this down here. It's not perfect, but actually the turn will have been shifted afterwards. So the best way to solve this is actually to look at the problem we were going to encounter next of what happens if there's a draw. So if there's a draw, you need to print there's a draw. So we should actually do this. We're going to get the winner. And if the winner is 0, actually let's just print if the winner is 1, or get if the winner is 1, that means that mark is X, else, oops, we don't even need these, else mark is O. But we're going to wrap that around. If the winner is 0, else. So if the winner is 0, we want to print out. It was a draw. I left off the semicolon. Alright, beautiful. Let's see if we can run it. So 0, 0, 1, 1. X wants to make a move at 0, 2. O's got to stop him. Ooh, X has to stop O. So we have to move to 2, 1. O wants to make a play for, let's see. I think O's lost this game. Oops, that's not a legal move. I meant to do 2, 0. Okay, no, O just saved itself. X is gonna make a move to 2, 2. Okay, good. This is gonna be a draw. Oh, X won. My bad. Yeah, O should have moved on the other side. And let's see, we want a new line here. I'm gonna do a line there. Alright, let's play again. I really want to draw. Okay, so let's move O at 2, 2. X wants to take the middle space. That's probably the best real estate. O will move there. X has no choice but to move to 2, 1, which means O has to move to O, 1. Okay, if we play our cards right, this will be a draw. So X is going to move to 1, 2. O has to move to 1, 0. And then X will take 0, 2. And there we go, it was a draw. I guess actually we don't want that. Okay. Beautiful. So there we go, a fully functional tic-tac-toe game that you can play with yourself or you can play with your friends. And we've commented it up, and it's all right here. I think that's everything that we need. Now obviously I have to keep rerunning it if I want to play again. So what you could do is add another loop that was like a super game loop that kept track of how many times you wanted to play. And if you wanted to play again, it would reset the game state back to 0. And you could really easily go back into your tic-tac-toe class and write a method called reset, and it would reset the board all back to its initial state. But I'll leave that as an exercise for you. I think we've gotten far enough. So this is a fully functional tic-tac-toe game, and there is some room that you could expand and play with it some more if you wanted. So if you have any questions, if anything didn't work, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.